So, Candace, according to Trump, we have a somewhat of an agreement with Iran.
Correct.
The war has calmed itself down,
Correct.
and oil prices
Coming down.
have tumbled. Now, for quite a while we had the war, oil prices were up, which brought gold down because people were investing in oil and not investing in gold,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But now when oil prices go down, gold goes up. Oil prices going down and the war having settled down, where do people see the stock market headed?
Okay. I need you guys to understand something that gold right now is sitting on a support level that is extremely strong. And what we do as traders, we trade off of support and resistance. And being overbought, remember BS, overbought and undersold. And so right now, everything in the stock market is 250% overbought. It has to be usually 1-to-1. It's 2.5-to-1. So that's really something that everybody's watching. Gold just hit a major support level. It's a pullback. Now imagine the ocean. The waves go out and they come in, but they come crashing in with energy. Where did they get the energy? It's a pullback and then crash. Gold right now is in a pullback, and you guys got to be ready because it hit major support, 40, 41, something like that. Now it's getting ready to have a super cycle, and gold is getting ready to take off. And this is not my opinion. This is, you guys ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki, a Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yes.
He's a huge proponent of gold. It used to be, listen to this, guys, pay attention. It used to be that all the big hedge fund managers and all the big financial planners would say have 5, maybe 10% in gold. Guess what now? They're saying have 50% in gold because what's headed out in the future, and the way that we don't predict the future, but we watch the big boys. And the big boys are Buffett. Buffett is sitting on, I think it's $500 billion. He's gone to cash, first time ever, selling his stock in order to get cash. And that's his war chest. Why? Because they know something that's right around the corner, and you guys have to be prepared. That's all. Don't be scared, just be prepared. And you will never go wrong with gold. And I'll tell you why. One thing else that I just love Golden Crest, because Golden Crest Metals, tell them about the buyback program.
Yeah, the buyback program, no fees, no commissions of any kind, not $1. When you're a customer of Golden Crest Metals, they will buy your metals back from you, the metals you buy from them. They'll buy it back, no commissions, no fees. And here's the most beautiful part. They don't report your buyback to the federal government because it isn't required. So it's a great way, you make a profit on gold and silver. They don't report it, right? So kind of a great way to stay under the radar. Now, something Candace said, here's something I want to play on that. Wells Fargo is calling for gold to double by the end of the year. Bank of America is also calling for gold to double. Deutsche Bank is calling for gold at 9,000 by the end of the year. That's nuts. And Goldman Sachs is calling for gold at 7,500. One of the things I want to point out is those institutions, the heads of those institutions, have a phone line to the White House, right? They know what is going on. Trump talks to these people, right?
Yes.
So they know something's going on that is creating not one bank, not two banks,
All the banks.
but all the banks
Yeah.
are predicting high numbers with gold. The National Bank of Georgia just purchased $100 million worth of gold. So what is it the banks know that are creating them to create these big predictions for silver and gold? Well, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what they know.
Right.
It just matters that if they're going there,
That's right.
we need to be going there.
That's
Am I
exactly
right?
Yeah, exactly right. That's how, and it's really not, like I said, it's not predicting, but when the big boys and the whales, I'm talking about, has $500 billion under asset management, where are you going to put that money? You're going to put it in the U.S. capital markets because we're the strongest. You're not going to put it in Venezuela, Russia, China, no, because they're weak economies and ours is the strongest. I started buying gold in the year 2000. But I said, oh, no, it's too expensive. It was $200 an ounce because it had been $50 an ounce the month prior to that. So I refused to buy it until it started popping, and then it popped, and then it pulled back at around $250, and I got in.
My grandfather, he used to say, and he bought a lot of gold, he used to say, I'm too poor to buy junk. And I always would scratch my head thinking, what does he mean by that?
Yeah.
He's too poor to, that makes no sense. If you're poor, you buy junk because you can't afford the good stuff. And he always said, I'm too poor to buy junk. And I said, Grandpa, explain that to me. And he said, well, think about it. Anything other than gold is junk. It's junk because it's not real. It's not real. The only form of real money is gold.
Yes, exactly right.
Right? The only form of real money is gold. So anything else is not real. I'm too poor to buy junk. These countries are weaning themselves away from the US dollar in international trade. More and more countries are joining BRICS, right? So the more countries that wean away from the dollar in trade, the less the dollar becomes worth. Now, the other thing I want to mention is this, right? You have money in the bank, right? The bank says, oh, bring your money here. We'll give you a 1-year CD. We'll give you 3.5%. Okay. And then, at the end of the year,
You got to pay taxes on it.
you get a 1099 interest form to pay tax on the 3.5%. So when you pay tax on the 3.5%, so the bank paid nothing, taxed you on nothing. Now you have nothing because you paid tax on the nothing that the bank paid you.
Because that's paper money. That's the reason why.
But if that same money that was in a CD would have been in silver and gold,
That's right.
it sits in your safe at home. Gold's up 41% in the last year. Silver's up 126% in the last year. Imagine that sitting in your safe. Imagine making those numbers. Nobody knows about it, including the U.S. government. Nobody knows about it. It transfers to your heirs with no government involvement whatsoever. None, right? Now you're making real money because you're invested in real money.
Yes.